Hey everybody, I am Erica Carlson with BRIX Real Estate. I am a Twin Cities real estate agent and I want to bring you Wright County information, and I do compare it to Hennepin, so stay tuned. If you are just anywhere in the Twin Cities, I think you might find this helpful, whether you're a home buyer or a home seller, and just just even a homeowner, like at all, like you don't have to think about selling to find this information helpful. So we're going to dig in. The first data we're looking at, which I always tell you guys is my favorite, is the showings per week per listing. And of course, I'm averaging this data together because um, because that's what I have to do, right? I'm speaking to a general audience, and whether you're waterfront, a townhouse, or any other sort of niche, you would want your real estate agent to dig down for you. But I think that this data is so helpful if you're shopping for a house, so you can get a sense of like how many other people are out there shopping too, because we never really know, right? We might run into other people when we're looking at houses, but not necessarily. So this week we had a gentle drop down, which I think is very predictable. We are in mid-August, state fairs around the corner. Some people are going back to school. So there's a lot of changes in the household as we shift from summer to fall. And it's just historically, August just kind of slows down a beat. And then what's really interesting is it picks up after school starts. So it's kind of like life settled down and people think about moving again, which I think is curious, because I always think about kids being enrolled in school and people not wanting to change school district. However, not everybody has children, and then that's not a factor, of course. So when we compare that to Hennepin County, they also had a reduction in showings. So they went from 5 showings last week to 4. And so again, these are averages. So about 4 showings per week is average in the entire county of Hennepin. And then 2.6 isn't like an actual number. It'd be like 2 to 3 showings per week is normal in Wright County. So if you were getting less than that, it doesn't mean, the hairs need to stand up on the back of your neck. If you've been on market for a long time, you might not be getting that level of showing activity. If you just came on the market, you might expect double that, but at least you kind of have a sense that this is a slower time of year, and that shouldn't surprise you. On the bottom part, you see average days on market. And I took away the last 2 weeks because I was looking at the data in a different way. And I don't want to bore you with all the details, but I think the way I'm going to collect it going forward is going to be a little bit more accurate. And so I would say in Wright County, again, at large, just generalities, 30 days is average and the median is 16. So a few weeks on market would be pretty standard right now. Again, if you're buying a house, don't necessarily come to the conclusion that like 45 days is a lot. It might not be for that market segment. So work with your agent to figure out if that is a quote unquote a lot of days. Now we'll just go through this quickly because I think it's helpful, but I don't think it's it's everything, right? Like I think it just gives us this little snapshot. And what I'm seeing this week is that there hasn't been a lot of change in terms of houses coming on the market. It's you might not even notice any differences. Pendings jumped down, or stepped down, maybe I should say, and closing stepped up. So if you think about it, the people in August 9th that were pending, they closed. And again, if there's not as many people out there shopping for houses, then of course we haven't seen as many houses move into pending. There's not as many people out there to purchase them. This next set of data tells us whether we're in a buyer's or a seller's market. We are more of in a balanced market. So the data you're seeing on your screen it's accurate or it's close to accurate, but it also doesn't give us the full picture. So it's saying in 2.5 months, if no more houses came on the market, we would run out of inventory. There's some metrics they use to determine that. And again, I'm only looking at 250 to 500K. Of course, if I opened it up to everything in Wright County, that metric would change a little bit. I like the way we're looking at it because it compares it to 21 and 22. So if you are working with an agent and you're thinking, I should be able to sell my house for a lot more money, you don't want to pull data from a year ago. That was a kind of a slightly different pace. We had different interest rates, so affected things. There were a lot more house shoppers, which is why 21 and 22 were moving along a little bit faster than 23. Now, if I look at this without any knowledge, like if I just came on, I'd be like, it's a very severe seller's market. But the more accurate information for you is that it's a little bit more of a balanced market as we are heading into September. All right, so I want to show you on my screen a market report. If you click on my link, you will see I have some cities already set up for you. If you're open to sharing an address, whether it's work or home, I mean, a home would be best. And if you're not comfortable with giving me your actual address, you could say like Cub Foods in Buffalo, and we could get like if that was close enough for you. And what we would do is look at like a half-mile or 1 mile radius. Okay. This is an example of a Rockford, Minnesota market report. I can make these for anybody anywhere in the United States. And so I actually make one for myself. I live in Rockford. And I'm not going to lie, it's probably pretty similar to the same data that I'm sharing with you in these weekly videos, whether you're seeing me on YouTube or Facebook. However, this information is very hyper local. So I would use your address and then I can tailor it. Like I could make it just a townhouse market report, or I could just pick like a half-mile radius of a certain address. So it's okay. Like if you don't want to share your address with me for whatever reason, you could say, the Cub Foods in Buffalo and give me a half-mile radius. Like that could be good enough. Now we might need to talk about that because, somehow we have to communicate that with each other. So anyway, you can see the market temperature. I mean, it's pretty accurate in terms of like what it's saying, which is we're becoming more of a balanced market. It's giving you the new houses, what's sold, the median price. Notice it's not telling me how much my house is going to sell for. Okay. And depending on where the address that someone gives me for the market report, I might have to branch out like 5-10 miles. Like if it's very rural or everybody's sitting on like 25-acre lots, it's like I'm going to really have to spread that out to get any sort of data for you. So it does give me the average list price and some of some of that information I'm supplying in the video because I do Wright County, and what I would be giving you in the market report again is something very local. And then what I love about this program for you is that it's actually interactive. You're not just looking at data and then closing the email down. So if I want to know what's happening in my neighborhood, now I can see these ones actually sold. And so I can see this person listed for $724 and sold for $690. And so I can think about that if I was selling a house. Like, what does that tell me? As a home buyer, what is that telling me? Maybe I can purchase a house under asking price. Here, this one, $350, they got $337. There's a second example of that. Here's a third example of somebody getting less than listing. This looks like new construction, so they sold the same, and this person got more. So that's interesting data, just this little tiny snippet that maybe people are getting less than what they're listing their houses for, just in that snippet. We can get pending data. Well, this won't tell me what any of these houses are going to sell for until they close. And so you can see the pending date. They don't always close on those dates provided, but if there was a particular house you were watching really closely, you could get that information. And then of course actives, like maybe your neighbor next door is selling and you want to know what their pictures look like and whatnot. So this will just come to you whenever you want it to. Like I can set it up as much as weekly, but most people will do quarterly or monthly. If you're maybe thinking about selling, monthly might be a little bit more useful. But I really do think that this is a tool that people generally tell me they really appreciate. Most people don't unsubscribe from it. However, you can at any time, because it is supposed to be helpful, and that's the whole goal here. So we could do it by city. That's going to be a little less helpful for you to do like the entire city of Rockford. It would be better to narrow it down to a few miles from your property, if you're really using this to your best advantage. And again, you don't have to think about selling this just because it's probably your most expensive asset, right? So let's just keep track of it, and I hope that you find that helpful. I want to thank you so much for making it to the end of the video with me, whether you found me on YouTube or you're watching this on Facebook. I really appreciate you and hope you will follow along for more data like this. I'm always available for you if you want to talk real estate in the Twin Cities. My number is 612-382-1304. However, I'd love for you to jump on my website to read my bio, to look at houses, to learn more about how I can help you sell. My website is iheartmplsminneapolishomes.com. I'd love to see you there. I hope you have a great week. See you next Wednesday.